Hi guys. So I wanted to share with you a few positive things that have been happening this week because right now it's pretty easy for me to go, well, this part of life sucks, this part of life sucks, this is difficult, this is hard. So I wanted to actually just spend a little bit of time and talking about how I've sort of made some lemonade out of lemon situations, like how we have only half of the power on in our house, how we don't have a true adequate heat source, how all these things are just really stinking difficult, and it feels a lot like at first, I thought it felt like having one hand tied behind my back. Then I thought about this person that I had seen on TV when I was a little kid that actually was born without arms and had used their feet, learned to use their feet to like do all the things. That's kind of how this process has been feeling a lot like for me. For me, is that like it's not even having my hands tied behind my back at this point. It's like I ain't got no arms. Like is how it feels. Like, it's just the amount of adapting and overcoming that I've had to do recently has been staggering, and it's been quite challenging, and it's put us into a position that's been very difficult and hard. So I wanted to share a couple of wins. So first win was yesterday. This is the biggest win of, well, actually, I'll start with some small wins so that way we can titrate our way up. So first win was when all the goats had babies a couple weeks ago. The mamas were all able to feed all of the babies throughout the big power outage, which would have been a nightmare had we had to bottle feed at that time frame because, it's very difficult to keep formula cold and then having to heat it up in the microwave and doing all this stuff when you don't have power is extremely difficult. So that was a big win, that they were willing and able to take care of all of the babies that they had. Kind of a downside to that is that now they're not able to because some of the babies have gotten bigger, their milk increased, or their milk demand has increased. So they don't have the supply to feed the runts also. So now we're back to having bottle babies, which is okay. It's making it so that way our replacement buck is going to be extremely friendly, which is something that we really desire. Wilbur, he's a pretty friendly guy that we have now, but sometimes of the year and stuff, whenever his testosterone's really amped up, he can get aggressive, which makes it a little nerve-wracking when you walk in there and he's right at kneecap level and stuff when you've taken horns like that to the knees before. Kind of sketchy. So that's a good thing there. That's a win there. That we've got such a cute little baby and stuff to feed. Kind of a downside to he's the runt, but his genetics are the same as his brothers, so like they're identical triplets. Same genes. But so that's a little bit of a bummer, but he'll catch up. He's eating extremely well, which is a huge blessing because sometimes when they're that tiny, it is very difficult to feed them, and it's just really a big hassle. But anyways, so he's doing really well. The other positive that had happened is the other runt that needs fed is a female. So we had talked about, which I swear Tracy jinxed us because she kept saying like, well, if we have to bottle feed anybody, I hope it's a female so then that way we can have a really friendly girl to milk in the future. Well, yeah. So we're going to end up keeping her to expand the dairy herd, in the goat herd in the future and stuff. So she's been doing pretty well. She eats pretty good. I swear she's like me. She's all distracted all the time, though, so you got to cover part of her face so that way she can't see what's happening around her. Otherwise, she won't eat because she's just like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? Oh, what's over there? Oh, hi, brother. Like, it's pretty cute. But so she's doing well. We decided that we're going to name the little guy Clyde. So Uncle Ronnie, I'm sure you'll understand where we got that name from. So he's going to be a good little dude. And then the girl we decided to keep with the flower theme because the road that we live on is actually called Blossom, which is funny because one of the goat mamas, the one that gave birth to Clyde, her name is actually Blossom. So it's pretty comical. We also love flowers, and we already started this theme of, naming the goats after different flowers and different things we find beautiful. So we're like, let's just continue the theme. So her name's going to be Dahlia. So she's a little cutie too. But anyways, so those were the wins with the goats. What was the other thing? Oh, that's not a win. Tracy tried to get the gas stove hooked up, ended up having to go get a whole bunch of different parts and nothing worked. Oh, it does lead to a win. That's the win. So there's been so much that have happened the last several days that it's so jumbled in my brain right now, and I'm sorry that it's kind of scattered and all over the place, but can't help it. That's just how my brain works. So it felt like a really big loss on Sunday, even though the weather was nice. It was great. It was fantastic. Tracy kept trying to complete all these different projects, and it was like she hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, basically telling her, halt, you cannot go any further, which was very frustrating, very trying, and both of us were pretty much like, why? and stuff like all Sunday. Like it was awful. She went to try to change the oil in the SUV. She couldn't get the oil filter off because whoever did it at the garage before, when we had a ton of work done on the SUV, they over tightened the snot out of it that even with a wrench you can't get the dang thing off. So pretty problematic there. Didn't change out the filter. It'll be fine. I don't drive that often, which helps with the potential fuel shortages, I guess. Like me being a homebody, like you're welcome, people. But anyways, I probably shouldn't joke about stuff like that. So that really sucked. She went to change the oil on her car because that's what spurred the whole needing to change the oil thing. And whenever there was warranty work done on it, the shop actually decided that they were just going to voluntarily change the oil even though she had just changed it. We told them not to change it. They changed it anyways. And they used an impact wrench to put the oil pan screw thingy on, the plug on. So she couldn't get that off. So that's a problem for a future her to mess with probably tomorrow. So that's frustrating. But all of this led up to yesterday. So because she could not get the correct parts for the gas stove to get it hooked up yesterday, but she knew of a store that was by our old house that she could get the correct fittings for it and all that stuff. She was like, I'm just going to go there, get the same exact thing as I got for the last stove at the old house, and we're just going to call it good and stuff. So she went there yesterday after work, and she called me, and like our internet's been wonky ever since the power went out. Like we only have cell service if we have internet. Like it's a whole weird situation going on here. Like everything's just, it's like I'm using my feet for everything. But so somehow I ended up having service in a spot that I never have cell service. I was actually in the goat pasture, and she calls and she's like, hey, didn't you say peel and stick tiles, like one of the only type of floorings that we can use in this house because the floors are really uneven because the house settled after Dawn built it, and it's a weird situation. So we can only use carpet, linoleum, or peel and stick tile. So, and I really don't like carpet, especially because we have 6 dogs and now 4 cats. It's just, you shouldn't have carpet if you have that many pets, especially if you have a very muddy farm. It's just a bad idea. But anyways, so where was I at? Oh, I remember. So she called and she's like, hey, so they're rebranding said store that I'm at, and they have everything marked off, like stupidly marked off. And I was like, oh yeah, like what are you looking at? And she's like, peel and stick tiles. They're 90% off. I was like, well, shoot, I guess that's what we're doing then. So she ended up getting, it's like around 1,400 square feet of tile, several different styles and stuff. She just sent me pictures of the ones that she liked, and it had a significant amount of boxes in it. So it's actually enough to do the majority of the house that we're going to do with the peel and stick tile. So our house is like 1,700-ish square feet, and I think there's like 1,440 square feet that she ended up buying. So she got like $2,400 worth of flooring yesterday for like $250. Like, so many things have just been solved by that. So many levels of stress and anxiety because it's so hard to, like, I painted the floors because they're just the OSB subfloors. It is incredibly difficult to try to clean OSB. Like, just throwing that out there. Like, mopping weekly, I've been basically just mother effing every single muddy paw print that is in the house. Like, it's just like, I'm like, I can't deal with this. It's just, you know, it's one of those things of, there's so many things that are creating the straw that will break the camel's back, that like the camel's back's already been broken. It's flailing around like this with its legs all like, it's been tough. But so that was a huge win. That was a fantastic win to be like, wow. So we were budgeting and planning and figuring that it was going to be several $1,000s for us to do the flooring and then have somebody else install it and blah, 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 blah. And I've been really stressed out about, you know, because our house hasn't sold yet and all this stuff. And like, we're running out of funds, and every month is another month that we're like, you know, when you're using the HELOC to pay for the HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, and you know, you only got so many months left that you can pay this, you're like, oh God, we're running out of time. Like we're in a terrifying position right now financially. So if you guys could, you know, spare some prayers and some fingers crossed and some good vibes that somebody's going to fall in love with our old house and buy it, like that'd be fantastic. Like, I'm just like, please, somebody help us. But anyways, shouldn't be quite so dramatic, but I'm excited because the other good thing that happened today too was yesterday there was a big cold snap. So I ended up starting up the wood stove after Jeff was done working here because he was installing drywall in the same room that the wood stove is in. So like I didn't want him to get all super hot and like be miserable and all that stuff because like the stove gets things hot like it's supposed to and stuff. So after he had gone home, I ended up firing up the wood stove and I only had enough wood for like 24-ish hours and stuff. So I did that, and last night I was like, you know what? I need to just cook real food because like we didn't have a stove when we first got here, so we were relying on a lot of like pre-packaged, pre-made foods and just stuff that's garbage that my body is so sensitive to chemicals and additives and preservatives and stuff like that I don't run very well on that. Couple that with having multiple health conditions that make it so nutrition is extremely important for me to function, on top of having such high physical demands of everything that I have to do to keep everything moving forward, and just physically it's exhausting what I've been doing for the last several months. So like I have to fuel my body properly, and I've been running on fumes for quite a while now. But so last night I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna cook on the wood stove. I've always thought that I could do this and that I could handle it and stuff, and I played around with it a little bit at the old house, but that wood stove, it had a curve to the top of it, so you can only do really small pans. So I had like experimented once with doing a goose egg on there, which was pretty cool, and I had done like I think I cooked a chicken. Like I had just like simmered a chicken or something like that, made some good broth. But that was about all the experience I'd had with it. So last night I cooked up some sausage patties, and it took a while and stuff, and it was a bit of a learning curve to figure out where to put it because this is also a new stove for us and stuff, but it was amazing. So then this morning I got the frying pan back out and I heated up one of the sausages, and then I threw in some eggs, and like I made myself like a full legitimate bona fide like feast of a breakfast. Oh, it just felt amazing. And then so after I did that, then I was like, oh, Tracy thought out some steaks for when she like puts the grill together or gets the other stove fixed and all this stuff. And I texted her, I was like, hey, the fire's still going. I'm like, do you want me to cook these steaks? And she's like, yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, okay, I can cook. And I'm just like over the moon because it's like, whenever there's so many things that are causing limitations and hardships and difficulties for me, whenever I can find that creative like workaround, that way to figure it out of, essentially using my feet, it just makes me feel so proud and so empowered to be like, yeah, you thought you could hold me down like this. You thought you could knock me down like this. You thought that this challenge could stop me or that challenge could stop me. And I'm like, I'm kind of like water, kind of like this stream here of, I'll just figure out the easiest way to do it. I'll just figure out a way around just to flow right through it and stuff. So it just filled me with pride too, knowing that like the wood that I used was wood that I cut up with my own chainsaw at the old house. I split it by hand, hauled it into the shed there, let it dry for over a year, then ended up hauling it here to then heat the house here, and then it was able to make me food and eggs that came from the land here. Like it just, the level of pride inside of me, especially too when you think about the fact that I also installed that wood stove, like the inside parts and stuff, and really pushed myself with that. Like it just, a younger version of me, like who I was like 3 years ago, mine would have been blown and I would have been like so impressed and so amazed. So now I'm just like standing here looking back on life and looking back at how far I've come, and I'm like, dang girl, like you've grown so much. Like, and I just keep thinking like, I am so stinking proud. I am so freaking proud of myself, of how far I've come, how much I've adapted, how much I've overcome, to be able to be like, yeah, our house don't have heat right now. Whatevs. Yeah, we got an extension cord running from one side of the house to the other side of the house, and I gotta make sure that I'm paying attention enough to, unplug and replug so that way everything is working right. But it's okay because I have the functioning capacity now to do this. I have the carrying capacity that while juggling all of these things, every 3 hours I have to go bottle feed baby goats, and I'm not like pulling my hair out. I'm not like losing my mind. I'm not overwhelmed by it. Like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I am overwhelmed, but not like, it's so vastly different from the first time we had one bottle baby to now I have 2 bottle babies. Like, just to see how much growth I've done and how much my carrying capacity has increased. It's just, it's like that culminative moment of like feeling like I've arrived and like I've become a grown-up. Like I no longer feel like I'm a scared little baby homesteader that like needs somebody wiser and older and stronger and more mature to guide me or anything of the sort like that. It's like now, like with essentially having our own like SHTF situation here right now, like this is pretty, pretty much what people prep for and plan for and stuff. Like, to be like new on this land, new on this homestead, and being like, yeah, I'm rocking this. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything anymore. Like, no matter what the situation, no matter what life throws at me, I know that I'm just going to be able to find a way to use my feet. And that's just pretty eye-opening. Pretty eye-opening. And all it took was me cooking breakfast on our wood stove. So that's it for today. I just wanted to share some stuff with you guys, some wins with you guys. And another win too that happened in this past week, or it happened like the day before the big power outage happened, was Tracy ended up rescuing another cat. So now we're up to 4 house cats, which is kind of funny because they all look the exact same except for they only have one distinguishing feature from each one. So it looks like we have like 4 body doubles running around. Like it's pretty funny. So my hands are getting cold. It's pretty chilly out this morning. That's why I'm standing in the sun. But anyways, I'm just going to start rambling now because I'm just so jazzed and so filled with energy and so filled with life that I should probably just try to work on getting a few things accomplished before it's time to feed the babies again. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.